Hi, nice to be here again. So this week, I want to talk to you about love and one of my all-time favorite questions. So you can take this question and use it yourself, um, or replace it with something similar. But one of my all-time favorite questions that really served me through the abortion, through the healing after the abortion, and now in my strength, in my ability to own my abortion and feel really good about it and be able to give back and live my life to its fullest, not despite what I went through, but in honor of it, in celebration of it, to live this big, bold, beautiful life because I had that experience and because I'm now stronger. Um, so you guys are ready for the question, right? So one of my all-time favorite questions is, what would love do? So this question really served me, and one of the ways I want to teach you to use it is to understand what love feels like in your body, right? So I want you to think about a loving relationship you have with maybe a living child, with a partner, with nature, um, some situation that brings you love, right? What does that feel like in your body? Start to really know what that feels like. Start to really understand how to recognize that. For me, well, I know this to be true for most people. I've never met anyone it's not true for. But love feels very light. Love feels like um, it feels both light as in light versus heavy, and then it also feels light as in sometimes just bright light, right? So there's an energy about love that just feels good. It feels energetic. It feels lively. It feels light. Even when it's about sad things, right? So sometimes maybe we lose a loved one, right? Or we think about our abortion. And there's some elements of sadness, right? For very different reasons, but we still can feel love. We still can feel when if I lost a parent or when I lose someone that I care about, I want to feel sadness and love at the same time, right? So there's still a lightness about love, even in sad times, right? So I want you to start identifying, what does love feel like for you? Again, for me, it feels light. Um, it feels very grounding. Like, even though I feel lighter and it feels less heavy, I feel really rooted. Like, I feel like part of the earth. Like, my feet are grounded. I don't feel like crazy and energetic or crazy and stressed out. I feel calm. And there's a really solid feeling, but not solid heavy, solid light, which is so interesting. And I'm just describing how it feels to me. So you have to start to identify, what does love feel like for you? So the next time you are doing something that brings you love, ask yourself, what does it feel like in my body? Because once you start to identify and understand what it feels like in your body, you can then start asking yourself, in challenging situations, in situations where you're confused or overwhelmed or stressed or anxious or depressed, you can ask yourself, what would love do? And some people like to close their eyes and ask the question. I like to write, so I'll literally write, what would love do, at the top of a piece of paper, and then I'll answer the question, and stuff comes through my hand that I never would have been able to verbalize. So for me, what would love do, and then answer it in writing. But start to understand what love means in your life and how it would act, what it would feel like, what it would choose, what it would let go of, what would it say yes to, what would it say no to, and really start to create an intimate relationship with what love is to you. Because once you start to identify that, you can start to, I don't know where to look. So if I'm looking all over the place, I still haven't figured out this video thing. Like, where do I look? I always find myself looking at me. It's probably from like years and years of being a woman looking in the mirror. So just excuse the massive looking and craziness. But once you can really start to identify what is love for me, you can start to use it to bring you strength, right? I had my abortion. I have XYZ feelings about it. Maybe they're positive, maybe they're negative. What would love do is like for me, I feel really strong. I feel really good. I feel really confident about my abortion, but I didn't always. And so now when I say, what would love do? I say, love would help more people. Love would write this blog post. Love would put something on Instagram. Love would show up on a video that no one's attending and talk about it, right? So whether you feel positive or negative, you can use this question to propel yourself forward. Because as human beings, we have one job, and it's to grow, it's to evolve, it's to step into a newer version of ourselves, one that's a little more expanded, a little wiser, a little more filled with love than we were in moments past, right? So it's a really great way to evolve as a human being, is to keep asking, what would love do? Let me look at my notes. So start to ask yourself, why would I choose love? If I'm in a situation where I'm sad or I'm stressed or I'm overwhelmed, what would it look like if I chose love? What would it look like if I didn't choose love? And why do I want to choose one over the other? Make sure you like your reason, right? I'm not going to choose love because what I did deserves punishment. Do you like that reason? If you like that reason, that's all you. You can live with that. But if you want to choose love to give back, to heal, to be able to spread more light in your community, then choose that. So really start questioning yourself. Why would I choose love versus something else? What do I like that reason, and what do I want to do next? The consequences for choosing love ripple out, right? They affect the next person we interact with, the next words we write, the next task we do in our job. When we do these things for love, even when we're in relationship with things that irritate us, maybe politics or government or our boss, right? When we choose love, we have a ripple effect, right? If I choose anger against politics or whatever, our boss or something negative, when we choose anger, we create more anger. When we choose love, we start to get curious. We start to say, why does my boss think that? Or how can I show up differently? Or so the consequences of choosing love have a positive ripple effect. In a really small example, if you wake up and you choose love and you go into the coffee shop, even though you're, have a stressful day ahead, if you choose love and you have a nice interaction with the barista and you smile at the person in line behind you, that affects their day, right? I'm not asking or saying that we all need to have some massive impact in the world, that we all need to help other women heal from their abortions or fund charity water projects. What I'm asking and saying is that when we choose love, every little thing we do has an impact. And when we don't, when we show up, and the coffee shop example really works, right? Because when we show up in the coffee shop and we're frazzled and we're stressed about our day ahead and we're angry at the person in front of us for being too slow and we're complaining about our day to the person behind us, it has another ripple effect. Everything we do makes an impact. So do we want to make an impact in love or in something else? What do we want to do? So the consequences of choosing or not choosing love don't just impact you, they impact the world. And that can feel like, well, I don't want to be responsible for the world. But let's talk about how you feel just you, right? How do you feel when you spend your time in line at the coffee shop complaining to someone and then you get in your car? Versus how do you feel when you spend your day, when you spend your morning maybe saying, hey, what's on your plate today? Anything exciting? Or just staying quiet, right? Just maybe I'm having a really hard day, and instead of complaining, I'm just going to stay quiet. I'm just going to think. I'm going to use this time to take some deep breaths, right? How do you feel different? Start to pay attention. How do I feel when I choose love? And how do I feel when I choose something else? What else is in these notes? I wanted to talk quickly about the fact that we are all born 100% worthy of love, right? No one holds a baby in their arms and is like, you're the devil, right? Like, babies are born 100% worthy of love. And what happens in their life moving forward is all kinds of beliefs are built, all kinds of nurture happens, all kinds of things change and structures form. But everyone is born with the same deserving energy, the same worthiness of love. And that never changes. Just because someone makes a bad choice doesn't mean they're less worthy of love. Just because someone, even in the most challenging situations, and someone perhaps does something that creates a lot of harm, right? That makes their choice terrible. That makes their choice now has a negative impact, but that doesn't make them less worthy of love. And that can be really hard to wrap your head around. But once you start to believe it, you stay in this place of love for yourself and for other people. Now, there's a lot of us who can choose love for someone else much easier than we can choose it for ourselves. We can forgive other people. We can not judge other people. We can believe someone else is worthy of love, even if they've done things we don't approve of. And we have a much harder time doing that for ourselves. That's okay. Just start to notice and practice and question yourself. Why do I forgive that person but not myself? Why am I not judging that person, but I'm choosing to judge myself? Why do I believe they don't need to be sad or shouldn't live in grief the rest of their life, but I'm choosing to be sad and live in grief? Start questioning and then say to yourself, what would love do, right? What would love do for me? What would love do through me? What would love do in honor of me? Like, just start asking more questions. So based on this, like, abortion is neutral. Abortion doesn't make you more or less worthy of love, right? Even if you're someone like me who finds her voice and decides to speak out and help, like, my abortion didn't, and my ability to heal from it, and then my ability to be strong doesn't make me more or less worthy of love. Love is something that I will always have access to, no matter how I feel about my abortion, but I can choose that ripple effect if I want to, right? So I am always worthy of love, as I would be if I hadn't found self-forgiveness, if I still felt guilty, if I still had regrets. Because I know some of you are in that place. You are not more or less worthy of love, right? Abortion doesn't put a mark on you. Abortion isn't, it's a neutral circumstance, and you get to decide what you want to do with it. You get to decide, do I want to live my life moving forward in love, or do I want to live my life moving forward in guilt or shame or regret or hatred or anger? That's up to you. Whatever you decide, you are still 100% worthy of love. And there will always be people who you can find who believe that in you. There isn't a client you can put in front of me. There isn't a woman you can put in front of me who I'm not just going to hold space in love for. It doesn't matter why they chose abortion. It doesn't matter how they chose abortion. It doesn't matter for whom they chose abortion. I choose to surround them in love because I know and I believe they are worthy of that. So the homework assignment I want to give to you, I want to challenge you to do, is to ask yourself, if I were to choose love, what would I tell myself about where I'm at now, about where I want to go, about where I was? And write yourself a letter. Dear self. And then write that from a place of love, right? If you, and I'm not saying you're there yet, I'm not saying you are at a place where you can have self love. I'm saying if you did, what would that letter look like? What would that love letter to yourself from your future self look like? Dear self, like I wish I had my planner right here, I would show you, but I actually write a dear self letter every single day. It's just a sentence or two, but it says something like, dear self, keep going, like I know it's hard, but it's going to be worth it. Dear self, like someone needs you today. Dear self, choose love, it's going to bring amazing things into your life. So what does your dear self letter need to say? What would future you say to you now that would help you choose love, that would help you start to shift your stuckness? Write that letter and see how it feels, and tell me how it feels. And let's stay in conversation. So no one is on today. I committed to 4 September sessions of group coaching for anyone to show up for free and to be coached by me, because maybe you're the one who's saying, like, not me, I can never choose love again, right? I can coach you through that. So if there were people on right now, we would stop the recording and we would move into the coaching. But nobody's here today, so I'm just going to stop the recording and I'm going to share this video with you. But please feel free to send me your dear self letter, or to tell me how it felt to write it, or to tell me where you got stuck. And to show up next week, because next week we're going to talk about how to believe that you made the right choice. What might that look like? How do you start to believe that it's possible you made the perfect choice in having your abortion, or multiple abortions, or whatever it was? So feel free to send me a message. So if you're watching this on YouTube or somewhere else, you can get access to the link. And if you're already in the group, then hop on next week and we'll talk about that. And after the recording, we'll have opportunity for coaching. So I believe in you. I'm going to figure out where to look. It's really hard for me when there's not other people on the call. Like if someone else were here, I would just look at you. But you know, there's my face right there. So I kind of bounce my eyes around where to look. But these are the kinds of conversations we continue to have in coaching. And then we talk about your unique situation. Like, what is the reason you're struggling with love, and how do we move around that? So until next time.